not just about surviving narcissism. It's about reclaiming everything that you lost. Your clarity, your confidence, your creativity, your joy. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Ray. So I'm going to talk about narcissistic abuse today. Normally I smile a lot in my posts, but there's not much to smile about with narcissistic abuse. I know that from personal experience. The smiling comes through healing. And if I'm honest, I'm still healing this. What I'm going to talk about first, I'm breaking the silence on this. It's not easy. There's a lot of fear about speaking up. And you might resonate with this if you've experienced narcissistic abuse, whether it's as a child or in a relationship or in any area of your life. There's a fear of speaking up for many reasons. And that's actually how the narcissism, the abuse can happen, because you don't speak up while it's happening. Or if you speak up, you're not believed, or you don't have the words, or you come across as overwhelmed and stressed and anxious, so it must be you that's a problem, right? It's very debilitating. It's so painful. And the healing isn't easy either. But what I've understood is that through healing, you regain your clarity, because narcissism is all about keeping you in a space of confusion, of powerlessness, of manipulation and gaslighting and distortion that slowly but surely erodes your sense of self and your ability to trust what you're feeling or what you're hearing or what you're seeing, because there's no accountability, and instead there's a narrative that counters everything that you might bring up until you stop because it's too painful or the consequences are too hard. And it's hard not being believed by those around you and instead hearing the opposite, or that perhaps you're the problem. So narcissistic abuse depends on you being silent. And a lot of what I share about the healing process, whether it's about abuse or just healing from overwhelm, trauma of some kind, is starting to express, starting to speak up, unblocking this. You lose this, your ability to speak for yourself about what is important. And this is so important. You lose your narrative, you lose your truth, you lose your power. So it's so important to speak up, and that's what I'm doing right now. I feel that I've understood my experience well enough, integrated enough, even though I'm still healing. I'm not showing up in a fully healed state. This is very raw and quite recent. But it's understanding why I've struggled so much in my life. Why, when I've set out to succeed at something or invest in something that is meaningful for me, or when I go towards something that is joyful, there's something that blocks that. And it's an inner mechanism because of that very careful erosion of your confidence, your ability to trust, not just people, the world, life. Everything starts to feel dangerous because you start to have such doubt about what is real and what isn't real, and is it just me? Is it me the problem? Yeah. You doubt that you are allowed to have what you want because of the consequences, again, very subtle, eroding that self-worth. I'm worthy of these things. I'm allowed to have what I want. Because everything is designed to keep you in that space of confusion, of doubting your own worth, of feeling culpable for how you are and what you say and how the other person is suffering. And once you start to see that clearly, you can free yourself. I feel that very deeply now. I'm getting to the point where I've understood exactly what's kept me in this limitation, this loop of every time I move towards joy, there's a kickback. Yeah, and part of me really wanted to just integrate this and go, yeah, okay, done, moving on. But I've understood this is very much about starting to speak about the abuse, to not hide it, to not fear speaking about it. But this is narcissism. There's so much distortion, there's so much deception, there's so much erosion of your own self-worth, confidence. And as I started to heal, and I started to heal while I was still living with this person, and I continued to do that after I'd left, even though I was still in patterns that I really struggled to explain, where I was still helping my abuser, still trying to create something healthy, because I hadn't seen clearly yet exactly what it was I was experiencing. I hadn't yet understood that it was narcissistic abuse. And again, this is the healing process. The clarity starts to come back. Again, it's not always easy, that clarity. It's been quite painful. And again, it's being able to hold space for yourself, be compassionate, forgive yourself for being complicit in your own abuse in some way. Understanding deeply that being abused is not your fault. I know that I was perfectly prepared, open to this abuse. I can see that if I go back into my childhood, living in dysfunction, normalizing dysfunction, emotional neglect, bordering on abuse at times, coming from a generational story of domestic violence and addiction and abuse that was shared with me as a child before I was even able to understand who I was. So there was a normalization of abuse in a very unhealthy way, trauma sharing, a trauma bonding that I understood was the way to relate, to connect with another person. And at the same time, growing up in a very volatile household where I learned to be the peacekeeper, the fixer, the people pleaser. And so it's no wonder I normalized my own abuse. I didn't see what was happening. But as I started to heal, and this has taken a long time to heal, I didn't understand what I was experiencing. Had I understood, I may have gone and asked for support. But it's taken me a long time to even understand that I was experiencing that narcissistic abuse. And again, as I did reach out and say help, whether it was the medical profession, overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm not coping, nobody asked me what's happening at home. Everybody said, go home, there's nothing wrong with you. Family and friends said, such a nice person. And you start to doubt yourself so thoroughly that I know, and I forgive myself for this as well, I couldn't have asked for help. There was nothing available at the time. So it's only through my own healing process as I've started to, reconnect, started to reclaim the clarity. And it's been a slow, progressive understanding. It's not been easy. And again, that's why I'm sharing this. Perhaps this will resonate. Perhaps this will help you in some way. And it's powerful, because having understood this dynamic that I've been in, how it kept me small, confused, never being able to reach for what I wanted, which would be meaningful for me, I can now start to create from solid foundations. Having healed, still healing, but having healed this, having seen clearly the dynamic that's been keeping me in that space of only getting so far, not being able to access joy without feeling fearful of the consequences, of not feeling safe, actually, in joy, in success, in personal fulfillment. But now that I see it clearly, there's nothing standing in my way. I'm smiling now. There's nothing standing in my way. So I'm really, really thankful for this clarity. It's not been easy. And I really hope this is helpful in some way. It's a very heavy burden to carry alone. And again, sharing it in this way isn't to give you this burden. It's for me to put it down, to stop hiding. Now that I have the words, now that I have the clarity, now that I know who I am, and that it was not my fault. And I couldn't have prevented it, considering where I came from and how I was conditioned, prepared for it in many ways in my childhood. But I can and I have healed it. I've understood. I have reclaimed the clarity. I am reclaiming my confidence. That's a work in progress. And I know that the joy will follow. So not an easy share today. And there's a lot more. I made notes. Normally I don't make notes. I haven't referred to them. There's a lot more that can be said about narcissistic abuse. But the important thing, hopefully by sharing this as well, is that whoever may resonate with this post, is that healing is possible. And that it's not just about surviving narcissism. It's about reclaiming everything that you lost. Your clarity, your confidence, your creativity, your joy. Know that it is possible, and I really hope that this post helps. Okay? Sending you so much love. As always, thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next post.